Welcome back to the Spit Out. I'm Jefferson. Alongside me, as always, the one with all the holes in his game, Swiss Cheese, and we're the disc golf world, breaking down Ledgestone and, more importantly, some Gannon Buhr time violation stuff. I don't know. I'll also make that dramatic. Yeah, I drummed it up in yesterday's video, so if the only reason you're listening to my podcast is because of that, yeah, we're going to start with that.
Sure. What do you want to lead in, or you want me to lead in? What do you
I wanted you to lead it, actually, because I want to see where you're going to take it.
First of which, I think the time violation is an absolute, inexcusable. There's no point in it at that point in time. You guys, with a warning, what is the reasoning to call a time violation on the approach to a pin, to the pin on hole 18?
I don't know. To set a point,
there's 0 point
to make a point.
You are literally trying to make a point, set a point, create a narrative, appease the comment sections that are in the videos or wherever. That is all I think that's all you're purely trying to accomplish. You're trying to set a future precedent for the next day. Right?
Well, I think also what Gannon said, mentioning the next day they had that pre-speech with the same marshal, and he even made a bigger point on staggered stance where he talked about why, if you're having that little meeting, why is it only time violation? If you're a marshal, you're there to call foot faults. You're there to call any other breakage of the rules. Why are you making it a point to say time violations? I feel like that's where he uses the word unfair.
I gotcha. That's a polite way of saying targeted, I think.
It was, but he used the word unfair, so I'm going to use what he said.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'll read into it for him. Gannon has made it abundantly clear in interviews and everything along those lines. He doesn't care about getting called. Mm-hmm. It's never about him fighting or not even fighting, but him making a thing in the post interview and everything along those lines. It is not about I shouldn't have been called. Mm-hmm. It is about, hey, call it equally. Hey, call it across the board. And that's what I think is kind of a show. I think it's the same people. I think it's funny also, how it comes in waves with Gannon. It also kind of seems when he's on his most competitive run is when people start getting picky with it. You know what I mean? And you add Kristen's, and it just gets weird and it's just odd. And I understand disc golf might not be in a place where we can, at this moment, have marshals on every card, but this isn't the answer either. You know what I mean? This is not fair, consistent, and equitable, in any shape or form. And if you can't do that, then don't do it. Or if you are going to do it fairly and call everybody everything like Gannon's saying, and then set that message. You know what I mean? Dipping your toes on this feels like it's more of a play to appease the comment section, which we all know. You know what I mean? It's in the titles of videos. It's on this. It's in everybody's comments. There's cheaters throwing out and other stuff. You know what I mean? It's obviously a thing. And to try to appease those people or that comment section is not the answer when you're trying to be impartial.
And I hope it doesn't get taken that Gannon is complaining or anything negative along those lines. I think that he really is feeling that he's being treated unfairly when he's bringing up there's other players on the same card not being called for doing the exact same thing. And I hope it doesn't get lost in the sauce when he brings up Paul Macbeth. I think that was his hesitance of doing it.
That's a tough one to throw out there. And I think everybody understands.
And he's overly trying to be hey, Paul, I'm your fan. I know that. And because it genuinely is just hypocritical in his eyes of, hey, he walked up the hill when I walked up the hill, yet I'm getting punished and he's not. Yet we did the same exact thing where, you're calling on me because I'm the time violation kid.
The same exact thing, same exact hole, the next day. Mm-hmm. And it's not called. Mm-hmm. How do you do that the day prior on 18? First of which, I'm telling you not to do it on 18 whatsoever.
Well, and there was that whole speech at the beginning of that round.
Yeah, unless there's another violation before it, you do not call anything on 18 unless it's off the drive, maybe. Then I'll give it to you, and it better be a par 4.
And it makes it, or he says at some point that it was not only being it was called, but that when the call was made, the marshal made a statement as well. If you've been doing this all day or whatever, so it's okay, why weren't you calling it from the beginning? If the whole problem is he's breaking the rule, why were you letting him break the rule the entire beginning half? And all of a sudden now it's a problem on the 18th when you can't do anything afterwards.
And I understand there's a difference of opinion on yes, we want the rigidity of the rules and they should be set in stone and they should be this. But it's like the fact that we're just self-governing and
We
so
you
many
can't
often, it's just like it's just silly at the same
we
rate.
can't even get a consensus on when do you start the clock.
Yes. No, that's true too. So yeah, when you see stuff like that and you see apples to apples just a day apart and you see it with your own eyes and you're like, yeah, that's not right. You can't say anything else but that.
Mhm.
Like, and I get it. And I understand that people like, obviously, the comment section, people will say, Gannon's doing this. And I also hate the play of like, when Gannon speaks, he'll say, like, oh, I have a warning violation to give. Also, he's not saying that he's going to try to stretch it to wait and get it. He's simply saying, like, if I need it, I know I can get it. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just strategic. That's not cheating. And like, I think that to imply that is just silly.
He's never taking 30 seconds intentionally. He's never going up to a lie and saying, "Yep, this is the moment I'm taking over 30
Yeah.
seconds." Where I feel like that's where the whole loss.
I think you get rid of the clock altogether. What's the point of having a clock if you're not going to have a timer or any like on every card? Just get rid of the card and just make it a pace of play thing.
Maybe make like unreasonable amount of time.
Yeah, or like even or like, hey, you're not allowed to be beyond this amount of holes.
Because it didn't
or
make
something
sense to
like
me
that.
either when they're. I think it was just when he gets the warning call at some point earlier during one of the rounds. They're getting backups.
Yeah.
I was like, well, why? Who cares? If
Yeah.
we're sitting here waiting.
And can I be honest? I absolutely fucking love Gannon's reaction to it. I thought it was such a great troll. It's like,
Oh, when he speeds it
yeah,
up?
when he sped it up, just like, yeah, I can do this. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like,
This is something where I hope we didn't miss because being at the event.
Yeah.
Like, was he actually getting it missed?
Yeah,
Were the cameras not catching it? Because I tried to go back and everything I saw was, I was like, okay, well, I'm still, like, I am seeing all your shots. So maybe I was just not at the right points.
no, but I still think it's just, I think it's hilarious. I know, like, when we saw him that day, because we were out on the course, I think we saw him on 12. Like, it definitely felt like something was up. Part of it was Paul was wringing out his shoes, and then the other part was like Gannon. Obviously, like there was tension in there. I was like, man, it's kind of weird for a lead card. Like, and when you see that, you kind of like almost like if you're not looking at PDGA live, you're like, all right, somebody bogeyed, or you know what I mean, like something happened, and I was like, no, he's fine. Like, and so it's just kind of weird. But
I don't like people are making the narrative of, oh, you can play good fast. Why don't you always just play fast then? Where it's like, well, and again, he also was in the mindset of right now of like, screw you guys. So there's a whole nother mentality on top of that. Like he's playing with the chip on his shoulder, where it's like he is playing the way that's going to give him the best shots every single time possible. If he takes a little bit longer, that's just how he sees it. It's not like he can just take that and play fast all of a sudden.
I would almost go as far as to say is like plenty of players, young and old, that have stretched that time. And why it's such a thing now is partly because we have a new medium, right? It's live, you're seeing everything. And so like part of it's also production and learning those steps. And I think that's gotten better. I think Gannon has sped up, but like it is an interesting thing and it's obviously shaping the market. And I understand that DGN's a business and I understand those decisions go to key to possibly other decisions. And that's just the nature of our game at this point. So I get that argument, but like, nah, man, let's just be fair and either like just go like, yeah, like I said, just slash and dash and just be like, you, like just make it a point, which also would be very foolish at this point in the year. Like if you were to do it, you better do it at a while or don't do it at all. So I'm saying don't do it at all and just let it ride out. You got new rules in place next year. Maybe you try to implement that and have it really started at the beginning of the year and hey, we're going to do this. This is how we're going to control it.
I'm glad Gannon said on Steiger's stance that he does think that this is going to help.
Yeah.
Before he was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to change anything, but now Gannon being vocal where he thinks that people are going to be able to make the calls easier, I have a little bit more confidence.
It was smart for Gannon to say that. Very smart of you. Whether he believes it or not is a different thing.
I think there will be people like this gives him at least a way to do it.
I think it's also like as now that it's been approved, I think as like pros talk about it more, I think yes, I could see it being a little bit more embraced. I really just don't think much at all is going to change unless DGN or the PDGA or some cohabitive nature makes it into something.
And we'll just have to
Sadly.
wait and see that.
Yeah.
No more reason to talk about it because that's what gets drawn out on disc golf podcasts everywhere. So instead, and I don't really feel like I want to talk about the Isaac Mando thing or the Val Owen thing because what actual value do we add besides the video we just made on it? So if you want any information on that, I say you just go watch that unless you have anything riveting you want to say.
No, I really, yeah.
You said it
like,
already.
I kind of did.
We have a unique experience being at Ledgestone. I feel more inclined to tell those stories
Sure.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's unique.
Sure.
I'm
I
jumping
don't
to
know
it.
where you're going with that one.
No, I just want to tell Ledgestone. I feel like there's like stuff that we dropped in the video, like getting a VIP passes, Nate Heinel interactions, where it's like I feel like those are worth more telling than being like, hey, they should have made that stroke and Owen should have lost. Oh wait, she lost. Great, that's a fun convo. But yeah, whatever. We knew that we were all going to go to Ledgestone. We go on to Ledgestone every single year since 2019. It's 3 hours from us. We make it a point because disc golf's fun for some reason to us.
Yes.
And we show up. It was hot as balls, so we show up like 4 hours before. Lead card on. We're walking up on Northwood, and then, of course, we see Mr. Nate Heinel running with his scooter down, and he stops and recognizes us, and we have a pleasant conversation, just introduction, because we've never met Nate Heinel before. And we've been very vocal and critical on some of the things that he has done.
Yes.
And, you know, sometimes you just don't know how people are going to take it, so you proceed with caution. He approached us, always, you know, take that, because we're not social people. We're probably never going to
we are not the, like,
he asked if there's anything that we could do, and he, got VIP for Sunday. Yeah, which was dope because we wanted to just sit there in the shade, and that's what we were able to do.
To be acknowledged like that and kind of like welcomed was pretty awesome. And also, like, I think what Ledgestone did this year was vastly improve over
the talk we had. The entire conversation home from last year was, wow, that was such a downgrade and letdown of Ledgestone. We didn't know where it was going to go from there. Honestly.
Yeah, we had people who experienced it for their first time that we were like rooming with. We hyped up the Fly Mart, you know what I mean?
Just and be a ghost town.
Yeah, an odd thing, but it was also it wasn't just the Fly Mart. The tee pads were a nice touch. I think everything seemed more well orchestrated. The VIP stages were better. You know what I mean? They upped the level of the game from previous years, which I think is great because it needed it.
Heinel needs the recognition on setting apart what VIP is at some disc golf events. Now, the pricing, we can always debate that. I'm not going to necessarily talk about that. But what you get for a VIP, it stands out from other events because I just hate when there was the divide of you're now paying an extra upcharge to just follow along a card. I feel like that should be like the basic. When you're buying GA, you should be able to walk alongside. Sure. Now you can get into conversations of like, oh, maybe not lead and chase and that's upcharged. Okay, but like the 17th card,
you should never have a course blocked off. Like,
if they're paying for, I don't want someone paying for an experience to be super behind ropes, never really being able to experience something on only 4 holes or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, I get you.
So I like that when you pay VIP for this, you get a lot more access to individual holes. There is some, I believe there's, and for VIP, you get bleachers everywhere. There's like an extra platform so you can be elevated above people where you're seeing. You have snacks, waters. There's a TV watching the live so you can just sit at one place. Like, there was extra
prime real estate. Like, it's like prime real estate on there where that's set up. Like, it's not like, I think everybody gets worried about like walking the fine line of like what's too big of a VIP or, you know what I mean? And no, like, it was cordoned off well, staged well.
It was better at Eureka, I would say. Northwood. I mean, we didn't walk too far down Northwood. We kind of sections. Maybe there was something way down there. Tough, it had I agree. I agree, and that's like the problem with disc golf in general, and that's why I do like the extra attention that gets done here. Now, what I will say of that, I want other events to expand and do similar, and I still think that there could be more done to make experiences I'm trying to think of a good word, like adjective, and I can't think of anything besides just like unique. Where you can think back about like, hey, you got this for free that maybe you couldn't have before or something. I don't know.
And man, like also like the walkway at Eureka, man, was just far cooler with more vendors, more food options. There's, you know what I mean? Like just having that line that way is just like, all right, Now you're at an event. And I think that's what Lake Eureka does. And this is why, like, I know I get like the scoring's high and I can understand that argument, but as long as there's Northwoods attached, we're fine. Right. But like, you're gonna have to take it for what it is, and it's okay. But like, it's also such a unique viewing experience and like staging and like it's unlike other stops. Like it's up there as one of the best. You know what I mean? And that's why we go every year. It's not just because it's the closest. If it wasn't, you know what I mean? If it was some other stops that we've been on, we wouldn't go. So, but like, yeah, and there's good reality. There's good spots you could sit. There's grouping areas. It's got a little bit of everything. The neat things about the event is like everybody's chatting. Everyone's talking about their rounds. You don't get that at any other experience. And yeah, and then of course there's always a discraft drop, and there's always going to be lines, and there's you know what I mean. So
The
you know what
biggest
you get with
lines.
this, and the event's crazy, great for charity, and yeah, I think you know what I mean. I think to respond the way, and man, like they were stacked against it. Like when they came back from Europe, it was following Estonia. You just had the grounds the first time ever, the experience of that. You come here, so what? It's summer and 100 degrees, hot, sweaty, and like, yeah, it looks the same. And it needed a little bit for freshening up, and they did it. And if they keep stacking on that, I think the experience will grow, and I think it's going to also help with the amateur events too.
One of my favorite things that I saw was the Vessi advertisement in between 17 and 13.
Yes.
I think that this is something that disc golf needs.
Yes.
And it needs to just go all in on, in my opinion, if you're trying to get money, because I'm sure Vessi likes that advertisement more so than just a sign in the ground right next to the tee pad or a flag somewhere. You're going to see that if there was ever an ace of that in the background. I know they had the ace challenge at previous, so even all those were going to be clips they could use. And I think it just provides more value to not only just companies, but outside disc golf companies where you're going to be like, what do I get if I sponsor you? Now you can be like, hey, this, you're going to see your logo here, big displayed on one of our feature hole, let's just build up that package. And I think that there's opportunities. We talk about that big rubber duck at Preserve, and if that's the thing, and putting it in the water there. I know there's conversations already to do that. Now, it would be cooler if we're not paying to put the rubber duck in the water and we're getting paid to display something. But I think this is a step in the right direction, and I hope we see other courses on tour do it.
I really think hole 17 for Ledgestone is something that Nate can really lean into. Like, I think there's something that you can kind of try to mimic with 8 holes or other. I think try to liven up that area. Because right now, like, the way the views are on the water tower hole, it kind of cannibalizes your VIP viewing there. Because you got the tier 1 and then you got the water, right? So like, and if you ask me, you got more excitement. You know what I mean? It's coming right at the viewers. It's a better viewing experience, and I think like that could be leaned into or try to make it livelier.
I think you all lean into the ace too right away.
Yes.
Throw an ace bounty up there, so there's some excitement always.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and then it becomes more of a party, and then it's like you're getting that more of that atmosphere. And I think that's where it could happen. I understand why it's also difficult because you got the T of 18, you got the T of 13 in earshot. So I get it. You don't want to like interrupt it. I just think there's a lot that can be done that, and it's exciting that Vessi has chosen that section to do it. And I think that's the right spot. I think it could be grown, and I think those two can do things. And I'm excited to see. And I would put that. I get it; it's the first year, but I would have put that shoe like right behind.
I wonder what the people would think about that. Probably hate
the
it.
pros. I think you can get it like somewhat close enough where it won't affect all the. If you put it in the center, it's only really going to affect the low throwers, which is not that high of a percentage, I feel. So
I think it'd be cool. It'd be more displayed, right? Yeah. I understand why they also offset it, because then you do get more of like, hey, we're double dipping in 3 holes.
Sure.
But then you get a clear view of Joe Mez live, way more eyes than just the couple thousand.
Lean into it. I'm saying, just lean into all of it. Absolutely. Why not? There you go. There's my pitch.
Messy. Get it down there. What else happened at Ledgestone that was cool that we can talk about?
Tons of fans.
Yeah, it was cool seeing everyone. We sold some shirts.
Absolutely.
We guys still
Yep.
got some if anyone wants them. Some wizards.
Nice.
Just interacting with, just seeing guys, people in person is always
I think
dope.
the Fly Mart was like orchestrated well, positioned well. I think they could do a little bit tweaks there too, but I think like as far as like the space and being able to shop, I think it was done as up there as one of the better Fly Marts also.
There was comments about lack of organization for the vendors at Northwoods. I know Treasure of the Forest posted something.
Yeah.
Drive Bags left the event because of it. Dyer's Guild left a comment on her video that I already saw saying how just tour in general, and even other posts alluded to like with cross events, there was lack of organization and just knowing what to do. And I think that this is something that maybe needs to have some focus moving forward for just event organ. I mean, man, I feel like it's all. I mean, I saw actually the Idlewild, or I don't know who from the event did it, but they posted their setup grid. They're already like, just in case anyone wanted to know. I'm like, damn, that's kind of cool. Ledgestone is a little bit harder because you have Eureka and nah, that's not true. You could always schedule things in advance. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding?
Yeah, I think, but that's kind of some of the growing pains that like with our sport is, and like, yeah. And I think that's also a spot to take advantage of in the future.
And
why not grid it and like, okay, this spot we feel is more valuable. It's more high traffic. Here's this price. Here's this price.
And instead of people complaining about the complaining, I feel like it's okay to say these things out loud, because if it wasn't, it might not be addressed.
True.
And you could be like, hey, go to Nate Heinold and tell him, yeah, sure. You should always go to the person and address, have a face-to-face. Maybe it would be a little less damaging than just slashing someone on social media. However, I feel like if you put it out in public, then there's an accountability of like, I did say something.
Yeah, it's fair. I get it. You're right. Yeah, I think it's a tricky medium. I think to try to find that sweet spot. They had 46 vendors. That's got to be pretty tough to orchestrate also while running however many, I don't know how many divisions and events they're running. Like over like 9 courses, right? Like,
oh, it's a ton. They do a ton on that side. And that's the reason you see so many people. I think as soon as you take all that out, and it's not the event that it is, and you have to realize Nate is dealing with some of that as well.
Yeah.
But that doesn't take away of like, hey, logistically, you want everything figured out.
Yes.
So I think moving forward, and I even gave him the benefit of the doubt in the video of like, hey, we saw the Fly Mart, we saw it dip. He made corrections on that. So we can only hope that he makes things right the next season. And if not, fuck it. Complain about it again. You know? I didn't. Oh, we should have checked the T sign hole 15, see if that was switched back. Nice. But I didn't see anyone fishing, like improvement.
It was a well done event.
Other than literally just that vendor thing. I don't know how big of drama that made. There was no.
Could you imagine what would Ledgestone be if it was like 75
degrees?
Yeah, like every
fun.
Year, like, you know. No, but I'm just saying, like, what would like I think like sometimes that heat does impact the crowds. You know what I mean? And like especially with those AMs when they're playing those rounds. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna get moments where like, yeah, I can't. Like we had plenty of people be like,
dude, my shirt was soaked the entire time. I believe if I played an 18-hole round, I'm not going.
No, I wouldn't want.
No way.
Yeah, there's no chance. So, or especially like not to follow. Like I'll go sit somewhere, but I'm not following. Yeah, no. But so yeah, I find that interesting. It'd be cool to see, but like it's just something in my head. But like, no, man, Ledgestone's here to stay. Let's be real. It's not gonna go anywhere. The fact of what it does for the community, and I get it. And I think we got to embrace what a Eureka is and embrace what Northwoods is, and
they're keep a good contrast, man.
Yeah,
and the hottest round you saw at Eureka this year was 13 down. That's not even insane on like what we've seen this year.
And like, man, like also even like Sunset Hills is like premier FPO track where I think it does highlight the skills of the ladies well too, and I understand like that's difficult to change also, and that's consistent, but like it's still like up there because it's one of the only. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think it's that, and like logistically, like come on, man, like logistically it makes like sense to what time of the year, the central location, where you're going, like it's going nowhere. It's funny when people like talk about Eureka or trying to get another one, and It's like, why not? Like, it's the best camera angle. And if you want to talk about like optics for people that aren't in disc golf, some of these shots are what you need
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
I don't like the conversation. Well, actually, I think this year I've seen less hate towards Eureka and
Yeah.
the gimmicky of whatever. Because, like
Mhm.
you said, I think it's more relatable to someone. You can tell the distance of when you're throwing over a baseball field if you've seen a baseball field before, rather than just being like, yeah, it's like a 500-foot frisbee throw. I feel like that does help. Also, I've always thought that it shows disc golf is versatile. I don't think it's a bad thing to see the baseball field or
You can
the
put right.
bridge or like
Yeah.
you can play anywhere. That's the point.
Yeah. Yeah. You can make it. Yes. I get what you're saying. They maximize the area that they got for sure. Yeah, man. Great event. Like, it's always up there. Like, as much as like, I think partly why we're, and man, like, because we go all the time, we're going to be a little more rougher, right? Like, so, and this was probably one of the better ones we've been to.
Especially since last year was such a disappointment and it was literally
Yeah.
called the glorified C tier. So
Yeah.
it had stepping up to do and it did that.
Yeah.
So
No, I think they did well.
Gan 8, really.
Top notch.
I think that's gonna end the podcast. Really, a little shorter one, but not
Sure.
really much happened. And we have a whole fucking long video yesterday that you can go watch and enjoy if you haven't already. So if you guys did that, make sure to like, subscribe. We have Disc Golf World merch. Hit us up on Instagram if you want anything. We appreciate all you guys making it this far on our Disc Golf ramblings. See you in the next one, guys. Peace.